Krishna. सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। In this book, we are in page number 146, the 59th shloka. In the number of words that we have already seen of the Lord, we have seen till the 546. Today we will start from the 547th. So please repeat after me. वेधास्वाङ्गोजितः कृष्णः जितः कृष्णः दृढः सङ्कर्षणोच्युतः वरुणो वारुणो वृक्षः पुष्कराक्षो महामनाः महामनाः। Yesterday we saw in a very detailed, elaborate understanding as to why 1,000 names, why names at all, and what is the purpose of giving these many pointers to that which is indescribable. Precisely the reason why we need so many pointers, because it is that indescribable. And not every example or every word that can talk about that Almighty, that Supreme, that it can give us clarity. Each word or each indicator has its own flaw or its own incompleteness that it cannot fully justify. Thereby we give other names, so that in all, when we put all these names together, the concise picture that can be created, the concise image that can be created in our hearts may be crystal clear. That is the purpose, that is the idea. Vedhaha Swangaha Ajitaha Krishnaha Dridhaha Sankarshanaha Achyutaha Varunaha Varunah, Vrikshah, Pushkarakshah, Mahamanaha. So these are the names in this particular shloka. Vedhaha, Vedhaha, Vidhita, Vidhata iti. Vidhata, that Brahmaji. Now we believe in the system wherein there is one Paramatma, and that Paramatma expresses depending on different aspects of responsibilities. We call him with different names. Like we have one governance, but that one governance expresses through different offices so that it can seamlessly take care of all its citizens. You call 911 if it is a medical emergency. So through 911 we are all invoking the same governance for health related issues. The same 911 you call for seeking protection, that if you are in some kind of a unwarranted situations and you want protection, then the same 911 will bring in not the medical services this time, it will bring in the police protection. You are invoking the same governance through a different channel. We need justice. We invoke the same governance through the judicial system of courts. So it is the same Paramatma who comes forth in different aspects. Not much is different from one to the other, because that one Paramatma who is expressing is the same. And again, we have, when we go into certain elaborateness, and as we keep expanding, sometimes it happens that when we reach to the outermost expanse, we forget as to where it is connecting deep within. Sometimes it happens when, especially it happens with my mother, if you give her an environment of similar speaking or similar background, she'll find relatives in the most unbelievable places. She'll do networking. I think all mothers have that innate capacity to find that. Am I making it up? She has that capacity. And then she introduces that person. And when she introduces that, you remember this Chachaji there, and their fourth son got married into this family, and that family's second cousins. By the time it leaves the first relation, I'm already zoned out. It's difficult. Now, similarly, when we expand so thoroughly, we forget that it is that same Paramatma who has expressed as Brahmaji. And each one of these expressions have certain Shaktis, inseparable aspect of that expression. Though for our gross mind to understand, we have given Brahma four-headed form, and then right next to him there is Saraswati Devi on a swan holding a veena in a form. Beyond that form, the significance is their inseparable aspects. As much as speaking is a capacity that I hold now, I'm expressing through that capacity. At 9 o'clock, I'll withdraw this capacity. Shakti is always dependent variable. It cannot stand independently by itself. Consciousness, on the other hand, is independent but cannot express without that Shakti. That delicate balance that the consciousness can stay without that Shakti expressing, but if has to express through that Shakti only. Now, if we understand even this basic aspect of creation, all this we talk about gender equality or gender non-equality that exists and persists can be resolved more amicably. Now, is the Shakti and consciousness, are they equals? No, there is no, that would be a wrong equation to pursue in. They can never be equals. They're inseparables. Am I getting across? Instead of pursuing what is it that brings that commonality of inseparability, if we look at differences and try to bring in equality, and then there are those who write essays and poems saying that even the creator must have been a man, therefore there is such inequality for women. Hey Rama. There is no such difference because they are inseparables. Bhaiya, I can hear it here. Huh? I thought that it was inseparable Shakti, but I was hearing my voice somewhere else without this form. It kind of little freaked me out. Okay, moving forward. It is the same Paramatma Satchidananda Swarupa expressing as Brahma with the Shakti of Saraswati. It is the same Paramatma Satchidananda Swarupa who is expressing as Vishnu with the Shakti of Lakshmi. Same Paramatma expressing as Shiva in the form of Rudra, especially when it is of the recycling of creation, and his Shakti is Parvati. When the same Paramatma has to remove obstacles or provide obstacles as per the case, then he becomes Ganadhyaksha, Ganapati. All these are nothing but the expression of the same Paramatma. So it is the same Vishnu who is acting in the form of Brahma, but with display of different Shaktis. How can it be that at one place you have this Shakti and the other place you have the other Shakti? One day I was at this house and this Amma who was hosting me, she was a professor in a university, in a college back in India. And her son came back, a second grader, came back from school. One good habit that he had was that first he'll pull out all the homework and he'll start writing down his, finishing his homework. And he was so lost, and it was cute to observe from sidelines that not long ago I was also like that. Probably not. Homeworks and me were never in the same room. But this fellow was so busy, pulling his hair out, and finally we sat next to him. I said, what are you working on? So he said, I'm working on my math. I said, what is your problem? 3 mangoes plus 2 mangoes equals. So with what I remembered, I said 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Plus 2, 1, 2. Now add it. I know it, he says. I said, okay, then what is your problem? This concept of additions has just been introduced, seems like. It says, it can be 5 only if it is candies, because that is the only example that was given in the class. Now she is a math professor teaching in the college, and she is trying to reach across to her son. She says, you don't know anything. My teacher said it has to be candies for it to be 5. These are not candies, these are mangoes. Outside we express with a certain authority in our offices or wherever we are working. That in that office, everybody who is working, gets scared. The boss is there, they're going to rip us apart if we are not up to the mark. The same boss comes home, it's completely a different person with the kids. Now, how can you express one way there and it depends on the environment. There you are the boss, here you are the father. Similarly, that Paramatma expresses in different formats. Vedhaha, the one who expresses as Brahmaji, the creator. Swangaha, Swa-angaha. Again, we have to go back into the explanation of this creation. Usually, if we have to create, we have to build something. There has to be creative intelligence. Just having creative intelligence does not suffice. Along with that creative juice, you need somebody who is very good with their hands to put that creative envisioning into doables. Then you need some instruments to translate that vision into how things can be procured and how things can be used. So for the creation, any creation, even for creating confusion, you need these 3 causes. 1, you need the intelligent cause. 2nd, effective cause. 3rd, instrumental cause. Like you are making chapati, right? If you are making chapati, you need the person who knows the skill of transforming the can full of flour into chapatis. Wish there was a machine wherein you just threw the atta in there and out comes rotis. Even for that, there has to be somebody who has to feed that instrument. So there is that intelligent, then there is an material, then intelligent, and then instrumental. There has to be material, raw material. Then there has to be intelligence to know how to use that raw material. And then the instruments through which that can be equipped. Abhinna nimitta upadana karana. In Sanskritam, that is what it is called. Swangaha. Swangaha meaning what? The one for the cause of this creation, being the cause of this creation. He is not just the material cause, he is not just the intelligent cause, he is also the instrumental cause. While we are making whatever we are making on the outside, like I said, example of the roti, you need flour. You need the pan and the rolling pin, and you need the instruments. You need to have the wisdom of how much water to add, how much salt to add, how much time that it has to be on the either sides of the roti on the pan when it is being fried on the pan, how much oil to add, whether to add or not. Lot of details, right? They're all different things. Material is different, instruments are different, and the one using all these is different. But in the creation, the material cause is Paramatma. The intelligence is also Paramatma. The instruments are also Paramatma. So what does it mean in our layman's terms? The entire creation is sustained by that Paramatma, and that Paramatma by definition is Ananta. What does Ananta mean? That which never has an end, infinite. Meaning at the material level he is infinite. There would never be a situation wherein suddenly Bhagavan announces flash news. For the lack of material, no more production of human beings, no more production of any other creature. Infinite is that potential. So is infinite his instruments. Now when we talk about instruments, there is a nice depth in that word, Swangaha. That Paramatma need not move from wherever he is to come help any one of these creatures down here. He can express as inspiration in any one of these millions or billions of hearts to be of help to that individual who needs help. Therefore, when Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. It is not to be misunderstood or misrepresented or misinterpreted that yuga, we have 4 yugas, so technically he has to have only 4 avatars. Right? In every yuga, 1 avatar. By that definition, we are, what do we do the excess of the 6 avatars? Even if we take that there are only 10 avatars as a limitation. If he is infinite, should there be a limitation of 10 avatars only? Therefore, in the 7th chapter, he again says that whenever there is an inspired thought in any one of our hearts, which does not have any kind of malice, bad intent, or crooked expressions, such inspired thought is the avatar of the Lord in our heart. Can we keep our heart that clean that every moment there is that expression of Paramatma in these inspired formats? To be his instrument. See, Bhagavan Krishna, there is one thing that is said about him. What? He is the most detached one around. He left Vrindavan, he never went back to Vrindavan. He left Mathura, he did not go back to Mathura. Wherever his interactions were, if the interaction needs more time, he would spend that time. Once he is done, no looking back. Such a dispassionate one. Even on the battlefield, he carried something with him passionately. Even if he had forgotten his Sudarshana Chakra or the conch or the shoes, he never forgot that one instrument in his hand. That was the flute. I find it funny because on the Ratha, his description is Vamshidhari. Vamshidhari, that he carried his flute. What will you do with the flute on the chariot, man? You have to be busy yoking that chariot through the battlefield. It's not like it is not engaging, that you will have enough time. Like, many of these teenagers do text and drive. So will you also have some time for, that driving and then you keep playing flute? No, you don't. So why did he carry that instrument? As a message for entire humanity. Are we ready to become like a flute? Completely inside out clean. That when the Lord presses that flute to his lips and starts playing, music comes out. For the uninitiated, when we start trying to blow air into it, sound comes. Abnormal sound comes. There is no music that comes. Our every expression can become that music provided we surrender ourselves at his feet as his instrument. See, to understand Jnana is not that difficult. More difficult is to be able to surrender. It's not that easy. Wherein you take your entire process of will and give it to an entity, not hoping, knowing that he shall take care. There's a difference. Many of us hopelessly given, hoping that he'll take care. The moment I say they're hoping, there's still a doubt inside. Maybe he will take care of me. No, knowing that he will take care of me, there's no maybe. Oh, I did Swamiji, I surrendered, but when time came in, he didn't take care of me. Whenever people make such statements, what does it indicate? It indicates that that surrender was not complete. There was still that ego poking its ugly head out, and it was having its own scheme of things, own scheme of agendas, expecting that God, wherever he or she or it is standing, would come in and start fulfilling all my desires according to my plan, my wishes. To give that up is called surrender. To be that instrument. Swangaha. Swangaha, he does not require any other instrument. He himself is the instrument with regards to the creation. And every aspect of this creation is an expression of that Paramatma. Thereby, he alone is expressing through all these instruments. Because of the egotistical existence, we brand everything as good or bad, convenient or inconvenient. There's nothing like that. There's an experience, and each experience has got something intense to teach, something that we have to intensely learn from. There can be tough times. But that tough time is not a bad thing. those who know how to handle themselves through that tough time, they come out stronger than ever, better than ever. Rather than running away or going to the temple and start singing, O Palan Hare, remove our troubles. He must be sitting there laughing. I did not give you those troubles. You have to go through it so that you can come out glorious. Swangaha. Ajitaha. Ajitaha, the one who has been unconquered. Nobody can ever conquer that supreme. No, Swamiji. In the borders of Gujarat and Rajasthan, there is a temple. I don't know if you have been to that temple. He is called Rana Chhod Rai. What do you talk of being unconquered? He ran away from the battlefield. You can talk about conquered or unconquered for somebody who stands in that battlefield and fights. He ran away. And the audacity of this Krishna Bhagavan is that he ran away from the battlefield and he was advising Arjuna to stick to that battlefield. If in today's world, probably that Arjuna would have immediately called him out and said, you are being a hypocrite. Don't our kids call us out? Because in their heads, walked up heads, they have certain standard that they have developed for everybody around, not for themselves. And even if we waver a little bit, they are merciless. First time I heard a kid calling his own mother a hypocrite, I felt like somebody stabbing me inside 1,000 times with something sharp. It felt very brutal. So we also will have the audacity to call out on Bhagavan Krishna. What are you talking of? Unconquered, Ajitaha. You ran away from the battlefield. So what is it? In every incarnation of his, he has always remained unconquered, victorious. So somebody brought this very funny twist of question. He says, if I were the CEO of this creation, if this creation was a product that I launched, and I send in a manager to fix the problem, I would expect that he would fix it so that there are no such problems created ever again. If that problem persists every so often, then that manager has to be fired. Isn't that the business module? It's not like that environment has changed. Creation, the same earth, same human beings. He sent manager, he took the form of Varaha, then Narasimha, then all these different avatars that he took. That particular problem was fixed. But it did not stop from any other such problem to annihilate. He is not a good manager. I said, Baba, you are being quite harsh as a devotee to the Lord. Though he is being sent to that same creation called earth, or he takes the avatar, the environments are not the same. Plus, it was his own two devotees who were cursed to come into this world 3 times. I would rather keep that manager, because if he has a team, he is the one who stands by that team and works for that team. And if those team members are that loyal, what did he do? He took time off to come and resolve their issues and bring them back as quickly as possible. I was talking totally in his terms of creation being a product. And I would want such manager to work for me if I were the CEO, who is not just climbing on the heads of all those team members just to be on the limelight, but also gives his life so that they are brought back into the team in a seamless manner. Goes out of his way to go help them redeem themselves. And in such efforts, he has always remained ajitaha. Jitaha, victory. Ajitaha, that who has never been conquered. Vedhas swango ajitaha. Krishnaha. Krishnaha, here especially, Adi Shankaracharya ji says, this Krishna is not the Krishna of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. He says, Krishna Dvaipayanaha. Krishna Dvaipayanam Vyasam Vidhi Narayanam Prabhum. So he says, this Krishna that we are talking about here is Veda Vyasa Bhagavan. In Mahabharata, there are 3 people who are referred with the name of Krishna. 2 with masculine gender and 1 with feminine gender. The feminine gender, Krishna, was Draupadi. She was a little dark in complexion. She was the dark beauty. And she didn't care for fair and lovely. She was quite comfortable in her own skin. So her nickname was Krishna. Krishna, the one who was dark and yet very attractive. The second one we all know is Bhagavan Krishna. And what is that Krishna's full name? His full name was S.K.V. Yadav. Shri Krishna Vasudeva Yadav. That was his full name. What is Vedavyasji's full name? S.K.D. Vyas. I'm not making this up. Shri Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. I'm just abbreviating it so that you can remember it better. One was SKV Yadav. That was the avatar. And the other one is SKD Vyas. Shri Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. So when he was born of Satyavati and Parashara, Satyavati belonged to a tribal fisherman group which were living in an island. And the island is called Dvipa. And the one who grew in that Dvipa, therefore Dvaipayana, the one who grew up in a dweep island. Like you ask your children, are you Indian or are you American? Have you ever asked that question? Did you ever get an answer? They say that they claim that they are American. I've been born here, I've been brought up here, I'm an American. My ancestry may be from the Indian origin. I may believe in the Indian value system or the Hindu value system. But from the core, I am an American. So there was once a debate about US attacking Iraq, the first Gulf, not, was it the first? No. After the Kuwait, so it is the second, or the first one by Junior Bush. So during that time, one of the senior classes, high school classes, I was having in those days I had time to visit those classrooms. So I sat down and they were talking about the ethical and moral standpoint of invading into another country. So just to add some twist, I usually take up the devil's advocate in such classrooms. And it brings out good, debatable points. And they open up. Most of them are avid debaters. So I said, if tomorrow US were to attack India, where would you be standing? I was surprised to find an unflinching thought in every one of them in that class. High schoolers, nonetheless, they had a firm opinion about it. We would be standing by America. We may create a certain lobby to influence the American decision in favor of India, but still we would stand by with America. Because we believe we are Americans. So growing up in that country, you are called American. Right? What would you call yourself? Indian. Now let's ask him, because he grew up in Africa and now settled in US. American. Okay. What would you consider yourself? American.
Good, friendly, educated.
Therefore, now as is the person coming from that land called as that person from that land, similarly, Vyasa Bhagavan coming from that island, he was called Dvaipayana. And he was also very attractive. Akarshanat Krishna. Very tall, strong looking, and dark in complexion. Dark wheatish color. Shri Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. And in the Vishnu Purana, it is very clearly stated, which Adi Shankaracharya ji quotes here, Krishna Dvaipayanam Vyasam Vidhi Narayanam Prabhum. That verily, that Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa is the expression of, or an avatar of, that Lord Narayana himself. It is he who has compiled all the Vedas. It is he who has written all of Mahabharata, and it is he who has given us the entire literature of Puranas. Such Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. What if there are many Vyasas around? Right? Like if we go into the ancient traditions and say Gautama Rishi, there are 6 or 7 different Gautama Rishis. You have to identify which Gautama Rishi that you are talking about. Right during Bhagavan Krishna's time, there was another person who used to call himself as the real Avatara. His name was Poundrak Vasudev. He had 2 more wooden hands, and in one hand he used to carry a lotus. On one hand there was the chakra made of metal, and there were appointed people that could keep rotating the disc from the back. And he used to claim that Krishna who ran away from Mathura to Dwaraka is the duplicate one, I am the real one. His name was Poundrak Vasudev. So there are a lot of commonalities. There can be multiple Vyasas. Which Vyasa are you talking about? That Vyasa who has compiled all the Vedas, that Vyasa who has written Mahabharata, that Vyasa who has given us the Puranas, that Vyasa who was born on that island, who was dark in color, therefore he was also known as Krishna. It was only after Bhagavan Krishna was born that Satyavati started calling her own son as Vyasa, so that there could be a difference. They say Krishna. She used to love calling her son as Krishna. But now that Krishna from Mathura, she had to call him as Krishna, therefore she started calling her son as Vyasa. And he is the one who has compiled all the Vedas, therefore he is also known as Veda Vyasa. You do a certain role in a movie and it becomes a hit. They forget what your own name was. You start being recognized by that character that you played. One thing that stands out in my mind is Gabbar Singh. There was a movie Sholay. Does anybody remember his original name? Hamzat Khan. Nobody remembers that name. They only remember it as Gabbar Singh. He did a tremendous job being that character. That he, another lady like that I remember, she was little plumb on all directions. She was called Tuntun. Very obnoxious character that she would play. And that one time that she played that character named Tuntun, it remained with her. It happens. Sometimes when you play these negative roles all your life, like in Telugu movie industry, there is one lady called Surya Kantam. She used to always play negative roles. So profound was it that nobody after that has ever named their child as Surya Kantam. I'm not making it up. You can check the consensus. So scared of that name. Bapre, if you name your child that, it will end up being like that. We don't want. She was one of the most sweet ladies off scene. So Bhagavan Veda Vyasa, he got the title of Veda because he compiled all the Vedas. And therefore Mahabharata is considered as Panchama Veda. The fifth Veda. So here that Krishna here means Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. Krishna Dridhaha. Dridhaha, that who is firm. Here another avatar being taken into discussion. The Manthara mountain, Mandarachal mountain, started drifting in the Milky Oceans as they laid it down before churning. There was no stability for it. It was drifting all over the place. Have you ever churned butter out of buttermilk? If that pot was having its own axis of movement and you trying to churn, it's an impossible task. So Devatas and the Daityas, they were finding it very difficult. So Bhagavan, he took the form of Kurma and supported that mountain. Gave that Dridha firm platform. That who is the firm platform for all this transitory movement called samsara, therefore he is called Dridhaha. And this entire thing, was it a burden for him? In Bhagavata, Kurma says that this movement of the mountain on my back, Kanduti iva. Because I remember that word so well because it took me a while to find out what exactly Kanduti meant. Kanduti means to scratch on an itch. So this mountain moving on its back, it said, thank goodness I got relieved of all my itches in my back because I cannot reach. I'm glad that this mountain is rotating on me. Now I can change the axis of my back and get myself scratched thoroughly. It was not a burden. It was like a child's play. Oh Bhagavan, carrying this world, is it a burden for you? When Krishna was carrying that Govardhana, first of all, everybody forgot where Krishna was. Everybody wanted to save their life, their cattle, their children, their wife, their carts. Everybody was. After everybody settled down, maybe even had their little brunch or breakfast or dinner, they remembered, where is Krishna? Then they see that on a little rock there is this person standing who is holding the left hand up. On the pinky of that left hand, this whole mountain is standing. We didn't even realize that the mountain is raised and we are protected underneath. Bitara Krishna! Poor fellow, Krishna is carrying it all this long. All the gopas, all the gopis, they run and they take their lathi, the sticks, and stick it up onto that mountain. And they say, Bhagavan, take a break. You have been holding it for a while. Sorry, we didn't even realize that it was you holding it up. And Bhagavan does not even move the finger. He thinks of moving it. And all the lathis start breaking. Hey, Bhagavan, you continue. You are that firm substratum on which all this samsara moves. Dridhaha. There is another meaning. That when this word is broken up as adridaha, If you look at the shloka, Veda Swango Jita Krishno Drida. There, if there was an avagraha, a little S kind of a form, and you break the word there, then it becomes Krishnaha Adridaha. If it were taken in that way, then Adi Shankaracharya ji says that he becomes very uneasy. Why? The one who comes at his presence in the temples and prostrates himself at the feet of the Lord, seeking his blessings, goes out and start doing all kinds of sins. So when a claimed devotee performs all kinds of sins, thought, word or deed, then Bhagavan becomes uneasy. That on one hand you claim yourself to be my devotee, my representative, my ambassador, and you end up doing all such kind of hanky-panky stuff. And you know the worst part? In the name of God. That's even worse. In the name of God, when we do certain things, such things, Bhagavan becomes the most uneasy adridaha. Now moving forward. Sankarshanochutaha. Sankarshanochutaha. Here, Adi Shankaracharya ji very clearly says, Nama ekam savisheshanam. This is talking about one name alone. They are not to be split into two names as Sankarshanaha and Achyutaha. Sankarshanochutaha. Achyutaha becomes the Visheshana, the adjective of the first word. So we will see it only as Sankarshanochutaha. So what does Sankarshanochutaha mean? The one, see, Sankarshana, the one who attracts everything into himself, unto himself. At the last moment of the Pralaya Kala, Pralaya, the severe deluge, what is he doing? He is bringing the entire creation back unto himself in its nascent form. Akarshana, that which attracts. Sankarshana, that which pulls everything back to its nascent form. Sankarshanaha. Now, while he is getting everything back into its nascent form unto himself, does he become destabilized? No, Achyutaha. The one who remaining stable brings everything back into its nascent form during the Pralaya Kala, such one. Because in science they say that when the black hole attracts everything, it becomes so dense that it attracts everything into that dense, small little format. But there is nothing that can stop that black hole from further shrinking. Then it reaches to a state of instability that it bursts forth. So does that happen to your Paramatma? Then maybe the dark thing that you are worshipping is actually a black hole. I said, no. He is Sankarshana, but he is Achyutaha, the one who is stable from inside out. Meaning what? Once we merge into that Lord and become one with him, there is no more further separation. Why? There is nothing that can separate or break that Lord, break that divinity. Though He is that one platform in which all the creation comes back into. It's something like this. Have you ever had chewed on some gum? I'm sure you all have, right? Have you ever made a bubble out of that gum? Where did it come out from? From you. After sustaining it for a while, what do? When it is withdrawn back, do you become unstable? This immense creation, from our standpoint, looks immense. From His standpoint, it looks like the bubble of that gum which He has blown out and then withdraws. He remains stable. Does it make sense? Sankarshanoচ্युतः. Varunah. Varunah. Varuna here means the sun which is setting in the west is called Varuna. As he withdraws all the rays back unto himself, as if in whose absence suddenly darkness prevails. What is darkness? There is nothing called darkness. Absence of light is called darkness. Right? So that setting sun is called the Varuna. There is a Shruti Vakya wherein Swarashminam Samvaranati Sayangataha Suryaha Varunaha Imam me Varuna Shrudhi Havam. So in the Vedas, such sun who is withdrawing all the rays unto himself is called Varuna. He is referred to as Varuna. Varunaha. Varunaha, the next word. The son of Varuna. Now who is the son of Varuna? And there can be various answers. Do you know the most famous children of Lord Sun? There are 2 sons and 1 daughter. The 2 sons are Shani and Yama. And 1 daughter is Yamuna. So when people name their children as Surya Kumar, so I am amused in my head, I am trying to evaluate, is this Shani or is this Yama? Yama, Shani and Yamuna, 2 sons and 1 daughter. But here we are not talking about either one of them. Then who are the sons of Varuna here discussed? Here the sons of Varuna are Vasishtha or Agastya. Both are Saptarishis born of Varuna Deva and both have immense stature in our scriptural reference. Vasishta was the guru of Bhagwan Ramchandra ji himself. And Agastya is the one who came down to the south, stopping the Vindhyachala by not raising high. So Vindhyachala was raising high, and Agastya Bhagavan, he said, "Will you bend down so that I can cross over?" And said, "Yes, I will. Can you stay like that until I come back?" So she thought that he will come back soon, but he stayed put in south. South of India. There is no place called South India. There is something called the south of India. Technically, the Vindhyachala ranges, anything south of that is called south of India. Having settled there, so far Agastya Mahamuni had already established himself as a stalwart in various statures. He was the one who gave Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra ji a powerful mantra. Which one was that? It was the Aditya Hridayam. That was given by Agastya Mahamuni. In what language was it given? It was given in Sanskritam. It was only later that he created the language called Tamil. The language Tamil is attributed to Bhagwan Agastya. So to claim that Tamil is older than Sanskritam, technically doesn't make sense. Now that I have said it, I'll be ripped apart by all the Tamilians who think that, or who have a firm conviction that Tamil is older than. Anyway, there you go, I said it. So both Vasishta and Agastya are being mentioned as Varuna. See what happens when you talk about the sons or daughters. Son of Vasudeva became Vasudeva. Son of Dasharatha became Dasharathi. The daughter of Janaka became Janaki. So the first vowel after the first consonant in the parent's name gets elongated to be called as their child. Right? Our Samskriti is born of the Vedas, therefore it is called Vaidika Samskriti. Getting the point? Similarly, sons of Varuna, therefore they are called Varuna. Vrikshaha. Vrikshaha in the Shveta-Shvetaropanishad, there is a reference wherein it is said, Vrikshaiva stabdho divi tishtati ekaha. Vriksha, the deeper the roots, the taller the tree. And it stands firm in that ground. So here, Vrikshaha means that which stands tall, providing for. Is there an aspect of Vriksha which humanity does not benefit from? As long as it is alive, gives oxygen, fruits, shade, including rains. Right? Once the tree dies, the tree you can make it into houses, you can make it into boats, you can make it into various formats. Even before that, whether it is a bud or a fruit or a seed or a bark or a root or the stem, each aspect of it in different combination becomes a medicine. Similarly, Bhagavan is often referred to as Vriksha, or Bhagavan is worshipped in the form of Vriksha. Now you tell me that if the rishis were not eco-friendly, they are the foremost ones to recognize the importance of ecological system, that they even worshipped that ecological system as Narayana himself. That was not primitivity, that was understanding the importance of it. See, and sometimes it is humorous and hilarious to see the Western mindset. On one hand, they would say that, oh, you Hindus are primitive worshippers, that you are scared of nature, therefore you worship nature. You are scared of mountains, you worship mountains. You are scared of rivers, you worship rivers. On the other hand, on the flip side, they often go into saying that everything we should go green. Before we throw away, reduce, reuse, reduce and recycle. Go green. Which is what exactly it is said or indicated when it is mentioned here that Vrikshaha, meaning the entire ecological system is nothing but an expression of that Paramatma alone. He is the one who shelters this entire samsara under his compassionate love, shade of his compassionate love. Pushkarakshaha. Pushkarakshaha, lotus-eyed one. The one who appears in the lotus of our heart. When we intensely meditate, where do we experience that Paramatma? Right here in the Hrit Pundarike Virajam Vishuddham. In our own heart. Therefore, one of the upasanas given is while we are meditating, chanting, doing japa, draw all the upper energies into the heart and draw all the lower energies and prana into the heart and apana into the heart. That where there is that balance created between prana and apana, what reveals itself unto itself is called realizing that Paramatma within our own heart. Pushkarakshaha. Mahamanaha. Mahamanaha, the one who has, how do I put it? Svishti sthiti anta karmani manasa eva karoti atayeva mahamanaha iti. The one who with his thought can create, sustain and withdraw the creation with. The one who holds that powerful mind, the one who controls that powerful mind is called Mahamanaha. Another way to look at it is the one who controls the mind finds the power. I just flipped the entire meaning the other way. One was describing that Paramatma. The second, it is describing the opportunity for the seeker to reach higher. Therefore, we say, win the mind win the world. See, the entire education system has to be rehauled. What do we focus on the education system for the first 25 years of their tender growth and life? Cookie cutter patterns developed through these different grades, which can give them the skill of making a living, but does not teach them the art of living. Nowhere in these 25 years there is a focused attempt to control and tap into the potential called mind. The one who has controlled, has access, regained the balance of that mind, taps into that potentiality. In that potentiality, the power that who has struck balance in, such one is called Mahamanaha. And how can we reach there? When mana, you reverse it, what does it become? Nama. Nama. When that mind turns to that source within, in complete salutation, surrender to that source within, surrenders completely, meaning there is no ego, meaning there is no kartrutva, bhoktrutva, abhimana, doership and enjoyership. And when that U-turn happens, the sanctity is invoked. Where is the sanctity broken then? Whenever we go away from the core of our own existence, sanctity is broken. Who is Mahamanaha then? The one who has the courage to make that U-turn and reach to the core within. Such one is called Mahamanaha. Thus, with the end of this shloka, we come to the 557th name of the Lord. We will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanta Shanta Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.